One's a living weapon who channels his enemy's own rage back at them. The other is a walking arsenal, bred for one purpose: hunting Jedi. So what happens when a warrior who can't lose his cool meets a warrior who gets stronger the madder you get? We're about to find out. This isn't just another Jedi versus bounty hunter list. This is a clash of titans, a collision of two of the galaxy's most hardcore warrior traditions at their absolute peak. On one side, you have the raw, distilled power of the Force, embodied by the Jedi Order's greatest champion, Mace Windu. On the other, the pinnacle of tactical warfare and anti-Jedi tech, the ultimate Mandalorian hunter. We're diving deep into the Legends lore, the books, the comics, the stuff where these two were truly let off the leash. We'll break down their strengths, their gear, and their craziest abilities before we throw them into a one-on-one fight to finally answer the question: when Mandalorian iron meets a hurricane of lightsaber fury, who's walking away? To get a grip on the threat Mace Windu represents, you have to understand that this guy is a total anomaly in the Jedi Order. Most Jedi are all about peace and serenity. Windu? He's a warrior, defined by an inner fire he learned to aim instead of put out. Even on a council with living legends, he was considered one of the greatest duelists the Order ever produced. A Tier 9 fighter, right up there with Yoda and Sidious in pure lightsaber skill. His Force presence was described as a gale force wind. An overwhelming power that could leave even powerful fighters breathless. But the two things that take him from great Jedi Master to what fans call a Vapaad God are his unique and frankly overpowered abilities: Vaapad and Shatterpoint. First up, Vaapad. This is not just a lightsaber style. It's a state of mind. It's the seventh form of lightsaber combat, and it's so aggressive and dangerous that most Jedi are flat out forbidden from learning it because it walks right up to the edge of the dark side. To use Vaapad is to welcome the thrill of the fight, to channel all your passion and aggression into a storm of ferocious, unpredictable attacks. And this is where it gets crazy. Vaapad is a superconducting loop. When Windu fights a Darksider or any really aggressive opponent, he doesn't just block their anger, he absorbs it, channels it through his own body, and unleashes it right back at them, but amplified. The opponent's own rage becomes the fuel for their own destruction. The more fury they throw at him, the more powerful he becomes. It's the perfect weapon against the Sith. But as we'll see, it has terrifying implications for any aggressive foe. On top of that, he has his other rare ability, Shatterpoint. Shatterpoint is a Force perception that lets Windu see the fault lines in reality. He can look at an object, a person, or even a whole battle, and see the one critical weakness, the Shatterpoint that will make the whole thing fall apart. This isn't just about finding a crack in a wall. He could see the weak point in an army's strategy, a political movement, or a person's will to fight. With a single precise application of the Force, he can strike that point and shatter the entire structure. In Legends, this power was absurdly potent. While pure Beskar is ridiculously tough, a Shatterpoint master doesn't need to break the metal itself. They can perceive the microscopic flaw in a system, the weak point in an armor's joint, the primary power conduit, or the structural flaw in a weapon. During a tense clash in the novel Shatterpoint, he faced down a young Boba Fett, and his ability allowed him to perceive the flow of the confrontation, to see the critical tipping point of the duel and control the outcome. You put it all together, and you get a fighter who is way more than just a guy with a laser sword. He's got massively hypersonic reflexes, able to deflect swarms of projectiles in the blink of an eye. He wields a lightsaber form that literally feeds on his enemy's aggression, and a Force power that lets him see and exploit any weakness. He is, for all intents and purposes, the Jedi Order's ultimate champion. His only real weakness? He's still a man. He can be outsmarted, trapped, or hit by tactics so unconventional they don't rely on the direct aggression that fuels his power. But in a straight-up fight, he's basically a force of nature. Now, let's flip to his opponent. We're not talking about just any Mando. We are talking about the apex predator of their kind. Think the skills of Jango Fett, the raw grit of Din Djarin, and the legendary reputation of an adult Boba Fett from the expanded universe, all rolled into one ultimate hunter. This is the physical embodiment of Mandalorian iron. The Mandalorians have a long, bloody history with the Jedi. They're one of the only non-Force sensitive cultures to consistently go toe-to-toe with the Jedi Order and survive. That history forced them to adapt. Their entire way of fighting is basically a direct counter to Jedi abilities. A Jedi has Force jumps, a Mandalorian has a jetpack for total 3D mobility, a Jedi has telekinesis, a Mando has whipcord launchers and grappling lines, and where a Jedi has a lightsaber, a Mandalorian has Beskar. Let's start with that legendary armor. Beskar, or Mandalorian iron, is one of the very few materials in the galaxy that can take a hit from a lightsaber and not be sliced in two. It's not totally indestructible, but a full suit of it can deflect glancing blows and even withstand direct strikes for a short time. A full suit of Beskar armor completely changes the fight. A Jedi can't rely on those quick fight-ending slashes anymore. Every attack has to be perfectly aimed at the tiny gaps between the plates. A task that's almost impossible when your target is actively trying to kill you. But the armor is just the foundation. It's the arsenal built into it that makes a Mandalorian a true Jedi killer. The standard loadout is terrifying. Wrist-mounted flamethrowers aren't just for damage, they're a tactic. A Jedi can't deflect a continuous stream of fire with their lightsaber, forcing them to dodge and breaking their rhythm. A jetpack-mounted missile brings the heavy ordnance, capable of leveling a Jedi's cover or blasting them out of position. Then you have the blasters, from carbines to heavy repeaters, all meant to overwhelm a Jedi's defenses with pure volume of fire. But the specialized gear is where it gets really nasty. In Legends, top-tier Mandalorian hunters used sonic emitters to disorient a Jedi and mess with their connection to the Force. They used slug throwers, basically old-school projectile guns, because the metal slugs couldn't be easily deflected back with the same deadly precision as a blaster bolt. They'd use stun grenades, ion bombs to fry Jedi tech, and flechette launchers that spray a cloud of tiny razor-sharp darts that are nearly impossible to block completely. But the Mandalorians' greatest weapon? It's their mindset. They aren't honorable duelists, they are pragmatic hunters. A Jedi is trained to defend and de-escalate. A Mandalorian is trained to win, period. They'll use traps, explosives, and calculated, chaotic movements to mess with the Jedi's precognition. A Jedi expects a certain rhythm to a fight. A Mandalorian is trained to be chaos, they are relentless, they are resourceful, and they are completely dedicated to the kill. Their weakness, if they have one, is that they rely on their tech. If you can disable their gear, they're just a person in a suit. But getting to that point, that's the challenge that has put countless Jedi in the ground. So, the stage is set. The Vapaad God versus the pinnacle of Mandalorian iron. We'll picture a face-to-face confrontation, no prep time, on a desolate moon surrounded by ancient temple ruins, 100 feet apart. This is a duel of pure skill. The fight starts instantly. The Mandalorian doesn't posture. His wrist rocket fires, but not at Windu, at the crumbling pillar right behind him. The goal isn't a direct hit. It's to create chaos and a cloud of debris. At the same time, his blaster rifle opens up, laying down a carpet of suppressive fire. But this is Mace Windu. Through the Force, he already sees the path of every bolt, the weak point of the falling pillar. He doesn't just dodge, he flows. His purple lightsaber becomes a blur, a vortex of pure energy that sends the blaster fire scattering. He's closing the distance with that supernatural speed, the same move he pulled on Jango Fett. The Mandalorian is ready for it. He knows a Jedi's game is up close. He switches tactics. The flamethrower roars to life, spewing a torrent of fire across the ground. Windu is forced to leap, his acrobatics carrying him over the flames. But that's exactly what the hunter wanted. A Jedi in midair is committed. From the Mando's other wrist, a whipcord snaps out, trying to snag Windu before he even touches the ground. This is where the true test begins. Windu twists in midair, his lightsaber instantly slicing the whipcord. He lands, and the gap is closed. The fight becomes a brutal, up-close dance of death. The Mandalorian's Beskar armor immediately proves its worth. Windu's first few strikes, aimed at the chest and helmet, are turned aside in a shower of sparks. The concussive force alone would kill a normal person. But the hunter's armor and training let him take the hits. He uses his jetpack in short, unpredictable bursts, changing angles, creating space, making himself a chaotic target. He throws everything in his playbook at the Jedi Master. A sonic emitter on his belt screams, unleashing a high-frequency wave meant to scramble the senses. For a lesser Jedi, this would be crippling. Windu, however, is a master. He forms a protective bubble in the Force. The sound washes over him harmlessly. He's a pocket of absolute calm in the middle of the Mandalorian's storm. The Mando's physical strength is immense. He tries to use his armored fists and sheer body weight to overwhelm the Jedi, but it's like punching a mountain. Windu's Force-augmented strength is more than a match. With one powerful Force push, he sends the Mandalorian flying backwards into a stone wall. The Mandalorian gets up from the rubble. His helmet is a little dented, but his will is iron. Frustration, anger, and pure warrior aggression start to take over. He's done with ranged tactics. This ends now, up close and personal. He ignites a personal energy shield on one arm, draws a Beskar blade in the other, and charges with a roar. And this is the moment he loses the fight. He doesn't realize that his rage, his killer instinct, his absolute commitment to destroying Mace Windu has just become the Jedi's greatest weapon. The air around Mace Windu crackles. The purple glow of his lightsaber seems to burn brighter, more intensely. This is Vaapad. He's opened the floodgates. All of the Mandalorian's fury is pouring into him, and he's letting it explode back out. A redirected tidal wave of power. His movements, already impossibly fast, become something else. He isn't just defending anymore. He's attacking with the combined fury of both himself and his opponent. The Mandalorian's disciplined tactics are gone, replaced by a desperate frenzy. His swings are powerful, but they're wild. He's fighting on pure emotion, the exact thing Vaapad was made to punish. Then Windu sees it. Through the swirling chaos of the duel, the Force gives him a glimpse of a single infinitesimal flaw, a Shatterpoint. It's not in the armor plating. It's the primary power conduit for the Mandalorian's entire suit, running along the inside of his gauntlet, a single point of failure. In the next exchange, Windu doesn't go for the armor. He lets the Mando's blade slide off his lightsaber, and in that split second, reverses his own blade with surgical precision, thrusting it into the hunter's armpit, bypassing the Beskar plate, and piercing the conduit. The result is instant. The Mandalorian's suit seizes up as every system shorts out. The HUD goes dark, the jetpack dies, the sonic emitter lets out one last pathetic whine. For one fatal second, the ultimate hunter is just a man trapped inside a dead suit of armor. It's all the time Mace Windu needs. The fight is over. In a face-to-face fight with no prep time, the victory goes to Mace Windu. The reason is simple. A Mandalorian's entire arsenal is built to counter a typical Jedi. Mace Windu is anything but typical. His unique combo of Vaapad and Shatterpoint is the perfect counter to the entire Mandalorian way of war. The Mando's core strategy is relentless, overwhelming aggression, but that very aggression is what fuels Vaapad, making Windu stronger and faster the longer the fight goes on. The hunter's greatest asset, his warrior spirit, becomes his biggest liability. And while Beskar is insanely durable, it isn't a magic I win button. It can't stand up forever against one of the most skilled duelists in history, especially one who can literally perceive the single weakest point in the entire suit and strike it with perfect accuracy. Technology, no matter how advanced, always has a point of failure. Shatterpoint is the ability to see that point and break it. Now we have to talk about the huge counterargument, prep time. And yeah, if the Mandalorian had time to study Windu, to lay traps, to set up remote explosives and long-range sniper nests, the outcome could be completely different. A Mandalorian with prep time is a whole different animal, one that could absolutely exploit a Jedi's need to face a threat head-on. But in a duel of pure skill, Mandalorian iron, for all its legendary strength, ultimately shatters against the storm that is the Vapaad God. But that's our breakdown based on a deep dive into the Legends lore. This matchup is one of Star Wars' greatest debates for a reason. Could the Mando's sheer volume of fire and gadgets overwhelm Vaapad before it really gets going? Could one well-placed thermal detonator have ended it right at the start? We want to know what you think. Who wins this ultimate power scale battle? Drop it in the comments below. Did we get it right? Or did we seriously underestimate the power of Mandalorian iron? The best arguments will get pinned. And while you're down there, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive. In the end, this matchup is a fascinating look at the core conflict of the Star Wars galaxy. Technology versus the Force, training versus innate power. The Mandalorian hunter is the absolute peak of what a normal being can achieve through gear, grit, and pure force of will. But Mace Windu represents a power that operates on a different level, the ability to turn an enemy's greatest strength into their downfall. It's a battle of a walking army against a living weapon. And